Hi guys, this is the Work and Money podcast with host Michelle Wong and
Willie Morales.
And today we have two guests, and the first one is Shaya Dank, and the other guest is stop it is Rob Schulte. Hi guys.
Hello. Hey.
Hello.
And I do apologize, guys. Sometimes I get the whole guest host and guest kind of confused sometimes because we kind of like intermingle here. So,
I just want to say one thing. Today is Michelle's birthday, so we definitely want to wish a happy birthday. Michelle is a young lady, so we can't reveal her age because, we're not supposed to do that. But anyway, Michelle, happy birthday.
Yeah, guys, if you can see my expression, I'm rolling my eyes right now at Willie, and I mentally want to hit him, but I am not going to do that. I am going to be a lady today.
Until she gets me outside.
And I am not embarrassed to reveal my age. I am 38 years old.
She looks like 26.
And I'm very proud of my age. And let's get back on track, Willie. So Shaya, welcome to New York City.
Thank you.
We hear that you came to New York City a couple days ago.
Correct.
And how has been the New York City experience?
This is just funny because everyone asks me like when you come to New City what it's like, but I have been to New York City multiple times before, which I haven't told so many people, but it's been a good visit, and I'm honestly working, doing the same as I would do in other places, just at different times of the day. So it's nice to switch things up.
Okay.
For a bit.
Well, I know that you've mentioned that you've been in New York City a couple of times in conversation, but the reason why I ask is because every time that someone comes back into the city, it's always a new experience.
That is true. I agree with that.
On a off note, getting a little sidetracked. Last week when we were wrapping up, Marcus was here with me hosting, and we had 3 guests on: Ricky Brava, Anton Glatzer, and Bill Stantonford. And after we were wrapping up, we went to the train station, and Lord and behold, what do I see? I see one. I guess it was a homeless lady, and she was just screaming, from the top of her lungs, and we were just like looking at her like, what the? And it looked like like when you're in jail or in prison,
Yes.
the bars. It's like she was just there, and she was just screaming something. I can't remember what it was, and I said, Marcus, what the hell is going on? And she acted like she was being beaten or something. And then we proceeded to go up the ramp to, I think we were heading down to 34th Street to Herald Square or something like that. And there was this other guy, another homeless guy, and he proceeded to urinate, but he was taking off his pants in all of this. And then I said to Marcus, hey, that guy is taking off his pants. And there were some tourists there, and they were just nonchalant. They was just ignoring the whole situation. And me being a New Yorker and seeing everything, I was just like baffled. And I said, Marcus, that guy is, oh my God, Marcus, he's taking off his pants. And he proceeded to take off his pants. He's like naked from the waist down, still urinating, doing his thing. And I was just kind of like, wow, like I cannot believe that this is like maybe the 6th or 7th thing that I witnessed like that. And again, the day by day, just living daily in New York City, my mind is blown every time I see situations like that. But yeah, that's my New York's experience, everyone.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't around last week to see this.
I've only had a couple. I mean, I've been here a year and a half. And
I've seen some weird things, but I will have to say I never saw that. When someone, took off their pants and, decided to decorate the sidewalk.
And you know what? And I'm a little bad with that because you know how I like to post things on social media. I was very tempted.
Ooh, can't do that. Can't do that.
Take a video, post it up on Facebook. I said, my God, nobody's going to believe what I just saw. But that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy.
I can imagine.
And no.
So Shaya, what now that you're here for a couple of days and you're going back, what do you have immediately going on? What are your plans? What you're up to? Any new endeavors you can tell us?
Yes.
Tell us what's going on.
Well, I know that whenever it was the last time we did a podcast, I mentioned I was doing graphic design and website design. After doing all those 7 businesses that we discussed, which 6 failed and 1 worked out, and then from that business, from the graphic design and website design, I was kind of like, well, this is not really enough. It's not artsy enough. I like to do watercolor painting. And after enough of my mentors just saying, forget the money, just go and find what you like to do and the money will come later, I just jumped right into 3D computer graphics, which is, to put into short, it's the characters that are on the screen when you make video games or when you have a movie like Avatar. So just to put on the table, that's what I'm doing. It's pretty complicated.
Okay.
3D computer graphics. If we had something to take a picture of it, I can put it in later. I have I have a character that I bought with me on a laptop.
So this is something like what Disney does, kind of like with their cartoons, or they take cartoons and they make them lifelike and things like that. Yeah,
but it's in 3D as opposed to kind of 2D graphics on the screen.
Now you're actively creating the whole character all around.
In 3D on a computer.
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, everything.
What was that movie? Was it Gravity? The one with I think it was George Clooney and Sandra Bullock, and it was in 3D. And you bought the glass. When I bought the glasses, and I'm seeing the group, it's amazing. You thought you were really out there because you see things floating on the screen. I mean, that's amazing 3D. I'm a big fan of 3D. I just wish they made more movies of it, but I know it's so expensive to do.
I don't think it's just the expense; it's the time. You have to get people willing to sit down for 2 years and do it. Oof. It's it's big process. Every character's, I don't know, a few weeks, maybe a month.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm saying I'll get faster right now. That's what I'm doing. But
well, I'll tell you, I have a friend who's a graphic designer, and he does a lot of 3D work, and got a job in an ad agency on 42nd Street because they just liked his glass bottles that he could actually render and make look 3D. So it's all out there. You know how it is. It's like what your mentors say. You just follow your passion, and something will happen.
Yeah, well, I do believe that. I think the last time that we spoke, that you were here on the show, you were trying to find your niche, your passion, and I know that in that conversation, I was telling you that you have to do what you love the most, because when you love and you have a passion for something, it doesn't feel like work.
Correct.
And it doesn't leave you feeling empty, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because some people, when they do, and I'm not knocking a 9-to-5 job. That's because there are some people that don't have that drive like other people do. And they go in on a daily 9-to-5, and they do it because they have to pay their bills and stuff like that. But if you have the privilege of being able to do something that you enjoy, it doesn't become work. It becomes something that is second nature. And eventually, the money will come after, because that passion evolves into something, and then people see that you are knowledgeable and have an expert in it, and that gets you into getting clients and things like that.
So, explain to me, or to us, what was that moment that you said, hey, this is what I want to do? What was that moment, that your aha moment that you said, you know what, I'm going to try this. This is what I want to do.
So it was actually very strange. I normally, in this sort of moment, I would say, no way would I ever do the series of events that happened. But I was on Google, and a few times before when I've clicked on Google Ads, it's just been one of these scam pages pops up, and I just saw this ad, and it was I was looking up for something to do with when I was doing some sort of graphic design for someone, and I couldn't do something, and I was looking it up online. All of a sudden I get this ad on Google, and it says, come check out this 3D animation, 3D modeling, 3D computer graphics software. Press this link to get it for free. And I was like, a free ad on Google? Probably a scam. It's a pretty safe bet. So I was like, you know what? I don't think I should click on this. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to click on it. Sometimes you get these sixth sense that's just go for it. And I was just like, okay, you know what? I'll try this. I hope I don't land in like some black hole, but whatever. Sometimes you got to kind of have this like YOLO. You only live once sort of attitude, because sometimes these opportunities just pop up and you don't know why. So I clicked on this, I downloaded it. I found out a few weeks later it was an open source software, and then I started using tutorials on YouTube, because I'll just say live, everything's free. If you want to learn something, you can do it. There's no blocks in the way, and you could make money out of it.
Absolutely.
It's kind of weird, but people are like, you're not going to make money. And I say to them, look, who do you know that's a 3D computer graphic artist who doesn't have enough money to live, and they don't know anyone? So it's pretty fair to say that it's pretty lucrative in that sense, if you're worried about that. But I just learned it offline, and then I started doing it, and I was like, wow, this is what I love to do. And like, this is what I could do forever. I'm saying my schedule, I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm saying life could be better. There could be more financials, but those will come, as we said.
Wow.
Well, in one sense, when the ones that are critical are the ones that are not going out and doing it, because they don't know what it's 100%. Like to go on a day-to-day and stuff. Mm-hmm. So the moment that they go and be in your shoes, mm-hmm. and they see what it's like, then they can't criticize anymore, because now they're attempting to do it, and it's not as easy as it seems.
Yes.
But you're going out and you're taking those steps, mm-hmm. forward to make your dream a reality. On the other note, because of the fact that you're a little bit younger than all of us here in the room,
yes.
I think that, in my opinion, people that are younger are more flexible, mm-hmm. when it comes to, trying something. Failing forward, yes. is what it's called. Mm-hmm. You see that it doesn't work, you look for something else to do, and then you find, yes. that passion, and you stick with it, and you keep going. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing really saying that you have to stick to something, because life, yes. is not scripted that way. It's just a free thing, mm-hmm. and it's just a matter of going out and living life and
correct.
Doing something. So to me, I think the younger people in general are more fearless when it comes to just doing things. Even, mm-hmm. if you look at children,
yes.
Children, if you ever interacted with a child and you, mm-hmm. put something in front of them, they get very curious and they start playing around with it, and they're very comfortable. They are not fearful of yes. breaking something or anything like that. They just go with it, and then once they get a hang of it, then, mm-hmm. they start.
Well, it's the same reason why little kids watch the same movie a million times in a row. It's fun to discover new things, and it's fun when you already know the outcome but can figure out how to get there.
But you know what? It's the most amazing thing that I've noticed. Put something technology-wise in front of a child, a computer or a phone or something, and
the Alexa.
And they manage to... they know they get the hang of it.
Well, synapses are firing faster, and there's a little person.
It's just, but
I agree with Michelle. I find it fascinating when I talk to some of my friends and I go, "Oh yeah, my 12-year-old son is going to figure out how to do it." I'm like, "Wow!" And we're adults here, but
well, the difference is that like there's a certain spot, and I feel like I'm right on like both sides of it at 32. But like I'll talk to my mom about something who's in her 60s, and she'll say like, "Oh, I need to know where this blah 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 is." And I was like, "Have you tried Googling it? Have you tried searching the internet for the answer?" And it'd be something really simple like where the closest gas station is in Kansas City. And she'll be like, "Oh, I just never even thought of that." And that's like the stopgap. It's like, there's certain generations now know that we can figure out how to do it.
Right.
We just have to know the tools to get there. Much like what you're saying about not like tutorials for yourself. Yes. I fell for college once. I'm never paying for education again. Like it's the biggest scam.
And it's funny because like me and Michelle talked about this a long time ago about these education programs and all that. And me and Michelle have done it, but for me personally, because Michelle is like on the media side and a little bit of real estate, and I'm more full real estate. And I talked to her where I found so much more education on YouTube, Google. I even I'll say Rob Schulte real estate PDF file. and it pops up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I just got a free real estate
but you know
bump.
what? But you know what? This is my thing.
You know?
Anton,
Yeah.
Yeah, but do our listeners know Anton?
Anton Blotzer. He has a business in oil. He has business in the film industry. He has a business in mortgage notes, and he comes from a comfortable family background. Like, his family has money. However, he had to start over because he migrated from Russia to the U.S. when he was, I think, maybe about 10 or 11 years old. And he basically, his father wasn't present in his life. I guess, circumstances happened. His father was not there. So he basically had to relearn the business part of how to just go about things in real estate and just to grow your business and things like that. And he read a lot of books. I mean, this guy is constantly reading. He's always getting tutorials. He's always talking to mentors and things like that. And he kind of like just went with it. And the real estate investment company he no longer has. So he migrated into, the oil and the way we met was through real estate.
Mm-hmm.
We were both in a real estate auction company, and eventually that company dissolved. But when we were working together, he gave me a lot of insight. And then he told me, you don't need to pay for these type of quote unquote educational stuff. And I'm not knocking people that have educational programs. It might be beneficial for other people that may be already in that vicinity and they're just trying to step up their game.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, I can understand that. But maybe for people that are starting out, I think that's not the most feasible, in my opinion, because what it does is
it puts you in a hole right off the bat. Because some of these educational programs are $30,000-$40,000, and I think, to me, nothing beats having, like Michelle said, having a mentor, having someone talk to you, just doing it, taking action and doing it. You're going to learn there more by being out in the field than you are reading a book or going to class. You got to be on the field and learn it. You got to see what an apartment looks like. You got to see, the boilers and anything that's pertaining to a house. You got to be in the field, just like in any endeavor that we want to partake in.
Absolutely. You mind if I jump in real quick? I think that it's also important to note that, like, a lot of times when you're going into new endeavors, whether it be a risky job move, a risky real estate move, podcasting like me, whatever, a lot of these things feel like the Wild West, or like,
sure.
And these things are like, we're trying to like figure out how to bring structure and order. And in those situations, there's always going to be people that like talk trash or do things like that, or like you feel it's a negative thing towards you because of a failure in your own personal past. Not actively realizing that, like, oh, I've accepted that I messed up here and now I'm improving upon that. I'm learning from skills in the past. And then you let this schmuck talk to you and then you're thinking about them the whole time. And I think part of the thing for me is realizing that, like, no one wants to hear me talk about how much someone screwed me over in the past. No one wants to hear about troubles I've been through or a family member that's blah, blah, blah. Like, what I want to talk about is what I've learned, why I keep learning, and how I'm going to be professional at this. Because anything else, who cares? The past doesn't exist. And so, like, I find myself being trapped in that sometimes, and I have to actively be thinking, like, I'm bettering myself.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I talk to myself sometimes about it, and I say, I did, we did this, and this. And sometimes it's just like, it just hovers over us. But listen, I'm still learning, I'm still reading, I'm still watching videos. So that hasn't like said, okay, for me, I didn't quit.
Well, it becomes really easy to then just talk about your haters rather than actually just be like, oh, no. Here's what I'm doing.
Right.
And I don't need to even like.
Yeah. I agree. I like that.
And took me a long time to get over that hump.
Yeah. But one more thing, Michelle, because I wanted to talk to you about, what was it, about your mother? Sure. You know, I am 55, and I'm one of those guys that embrace technology.
Sure.
I'm on Google and YouTube. I live on those channels. I love YouTube. That's probably my favorite channel of all time, because I watch, not only real estate. Like today, I was watching something about Bernie Madoff. Sure. You know why? There was a movie a couple of weeks ago, so then let me just watch the documentary, and I have it on YouTube. I'm a big fan of those channels. You can learn a lot. And one time, I think I told Michelle this, I had a little plumbing issue. And, I
fixed the toilet, didn't you?
It was a drain. And I looked at YouTube, I drained it, then I found out that it wasn't me, it was next door. So
even better though, now you know how to do that.
Exactly.
And it's not your problem.
Right. And I went through YouTube, and I'm like looking, and I put plumbing, and the person that came on, the first video was a girl. She must have been like a 9. She was so hot. And I just watched the video like 10 times just to look at her.
That's a woman.
It's a woman. That's a hot woman. But I'm just saying, Michelle.
Is she blonde?
No, she's brunette.
No, because she's
brunette.
There's I forgot her name. She's a single mom, and she was actually. I went to a seminar with Gladys. Remember Gladys?
Yeah.
I went to a Fortune Builders seminar. It was one of those 3-day things, and they were talking about this woman that she went to their seminar, and she, took the courses. And she evolved from there, and then she started to do wholesale. From wholesale, she started to do fix and flip.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
And then she got her
Robin Thompson. Is that the name?
No. Robin Thompson is she's the rehab queen.
Okay.
She actually
so was someone. Okay.
She actually taught Fan Merrill.
Okay.
And she was Fan Merrill's mentor.
Gotcha.
And he kind of like took the things that he learned from her, and he made it, and he evolved it into, what he was doing,
Fortune
and then kind of
like
evolved it into Fortune Builders. But I'm talking about one of his students.
Mm-hmm.
She went on to, take his courses, kind of like went into her own, and she got picked up for a TV show. I don't know if her name is Pam or I think her name is Pam. Don't quote me on it. And, I heard her story from one of the people there that came in to speak about Fortune Builders. And she couldn't afford it because she was a single mom. She was a waitress, and she was just trying to make ends meet. And she saw that this was an option for her. So she put the money together. She found ways to borrow the money, got into the classes, and I think she took out a loan to take the major course, because they have different packages or whatever. And she did a couple of fix and flips, and it went into the industry. Somewhere the TV network found out about it, and she now has her own TV show. Because she's a good looking. Because I was thinking she's a good looking woman, and she's a single mom, but that's what she does.
Yeah.
And she has a reputation for being able to fix a lot of the older houses.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking about that.
No, she was a brunette.
On the interesting note, I was on, and gotta love Facebook, because Facebook they put all of these advertisements of stories and things like that go on in the public. There is a woman, single mom of 4. She left a abusive marriage or something like that, and she divorced. So she was trying to get away from her ex-husband, and she had no place to live. So she started to follow YouTube, the tutorials of how to build out a house. So she started to go into that, and in 9 months, she was able to build, I think it was a 5-bedroom, 3 garage house. You have to see the pictures and everything. And now she has her own YouTube channel, and she also wrote a book about her experiences and how she built it out. And it was just following the YouTube
that's amazing.
Tutorials of how to do this and how to do that. She started with the foundation, from the foundation, and her kids were helping her along the way.
Yeah.
And now she has this wonderful home.
That's
and
crazy.
It was all built by her and her kids. So tell me that's not amazing.
I want to ask Shaya, I want to ask you three something because you guys are they're all under 40. I'm the oldest. And like when I was Shaya's age, Rob and Michelle, we didn't have the technology.
Yes.
So I want to ask you guys, and maybe this is a loaded question, but I want to ask you three. Do you think it's easier now to be an entrepreneur than it was 25 years ago?
No.
Okay. I want to...
personally.
Okay. Can you...
But I don't think it's necessarily harder either. I just think that... Actually, yeah, I do think it's harder now because your competition's like incredibly exponentially larger and everyone can learn like we've just been talking about.
Okay.
Back in the day, if I wanted to start my own newspaper and I had the means to start my newspaper, well, then people would buy that newspaper. If I wanted to start something like that now, I could never find the means. Absolutely no way I'm printing it, and then no one's buying it. It just, to me, it feels like there was a lot more opportunity in the sense of like, I don't know. It was easier back in the day before, like, let's say,
so let's
home
talk
computer.
about, let's talk about like in the 90s compared to now. So you talk about 25 years later. I don't know. The reason why I think it's easier because the education's out there and it's free. Now, I agree with what I want to hear definitely Shaya and Michelle's point. I get what you're saying because you know what?
I see the other side of it.
Yeah. No, because there is so much more competition. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, especially the millennials.
It depends on how you view it because it is a
how do you view it?
To me, it's a double-edged sword. In regards to technology, it's easier for you to put your presence out there, but it's a little bit more difficult because the competition, it's like Rob said, the competition is there. So if let's say that you're in a specific industry, there's going to be competition and you have to always think a few steps ahead and you always have to be thinking outside the box to separate yourself from the competition. So it's a little bit more difficult. Okay. Right now, for instance, publication, it's not as easy because there's hardly any printing anymore. Like the printing of magazines and newspaper, it's still there for, let's say, the older, for the older group. But the younger generation, they'll just click online and they'll be able to see it. It's digital.
Right. But technically, there's also a resurgence, though, of print from younger people that want to separate themselves from online magazines. So on the other side of that, there's still this whole group underground that's like spending money because they know that they're making a physical product. But then in turn, it's like, it's not People magazine. It's like a specialty magazine on tennis, written by tennis players and that sort of thing. So it's weird how like, when it gets to be that extreme, you start getting the other extreme from the other side of it as well.
I don't know. I just think because of, like Michelle said, social media, technology.
Just remember that there's a difference between knowing how to use Facebook and knowing how to use it for business.
No, of course. I mean, some people use it.
You know how to use the stuff, but maybe you're not a marketer.
No. I understand that. But I'm just saying that I think it's... that if you want to be an entrepreneur, you could just go to, just Google 20 businesses to start. Yeah, and we've done that. But I'm just saying because I'm looking at it from my age. Mm-hmm. Because, again, I'm in my 50s and I see that and I'm like, wow, I mean, I don't think the young guys...
But you've also got life experience.
Okay. But when I was your guys' age, I wasn't even considering entrepreneurship. It wasn't until my mid-40s.
And now you are, and you have the internet, so you've got a leg up there in that sense.
Right.
But if you would have had that entrepreneurial drive when you were 18, you would have probably still found a way to do what you wanted to do because it is within the person, I would think. But it's every human's different, so who knows? I don't know what I'm
Shaya, what do you think?
I have like some very interesting views just because I've heard like this side and that side and the other side. And I'm like, on one hand, in the old times was easier, but if I was to say the old times, my profession wouldn't exist. I don't think they had like 3D. They did, but there wasn't so much money in that sort of area. It was like, if it was gold, if it was silver, if it was pottery, maybe, but on the computer... No, they didn't even have computers like way back in the day. So
yeah. So let's span it like me. So how old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay, so 24 for me that was 1986.
Okay.
Right. So Apple is just starting. IBM. I think by the late 80s, Michelle, I started using a computer, but I was at work, and I was just printing up a report. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. You know, I remember somebody said, "Oh, this will be good for you in the future." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think so." I mean, but that's what I saw.
Yes.
To me, it was just getting magazines and newspapers. You know, I mean, the 80s, there was cable had just, it was growing more and more. I just think that you guys, maybe it's from my point of view, you guys have it easier because the technology is just is out there.
It depends on what.
But I want to hear your point of view too. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It depends on the industry that you're in.
Yeah.
You know, to be an entrepreneur, it really depends on what kind of business, what kind of.
Of course, I agree.
There's certain industry because it's like an evolution thing. You know, there were certain businesses back in the day that were very successful, and now it's kind of like dying out because we're in a different era, and because of the fact that technology came into place and now it's more advanced. And in another instance, you have like other industries that are booming. You know, like Shaya, you have you have a new business. It's a different industry. It's booming because you're in the age of technology where it's in demand. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. And if you are going into an industry that is not exactly as popular as it was before, then you have to kind of reinvent the wheel and make that presence again until it picks up again. You know, so it really depends. It's a really tricky thing. Again, it's like Rob said, being an entrepreneur, it comes from within. Some people have it, some people don't.
No, I agree there.
And, some of us, it takes us a little bit longer for that spark to kind of like go in and then, go out and execute it. And some people, it's just dormant and it never goes anywhere.
Sure, no, I understand. I'm just saying, from just what I see out there, I'm like, wow, I think it's so much easier now to be an entrepreneur than 30 years ago, because, and I just keep on going back to technology.
Well, I think that's an important thing to say. And Shaya, we're like skipping right over you, man.
Do you want me to speak?
Jump in.
Please jump in. Jump in.
This is my point of view. I'm saying, I want people to know, I'm saying the whole thing with university, I don't think that's so important necessarily. It's more a matter of, are you afraid to do your stuff and just keep doing it? Because I'm saying, I want to go back to the point we were saying before about university. And the thing is, universities can be it can feel like you're doing everything, but at the end of the day, when you come out, you're still going to have debt and you're still going to have to do things. The only thing you really accomplish in university is really networking, in my view. The only thing you get is great networks, you meet with great people, but if you can do it yourself, I don't want to boast or anything, but I met so many thousands of different entrepreneurs just through social media. You can do all the same things you wouldn't have to go to university for. You would save yourself if you become a doctor, it could be $100,000. Imagine $100,000 going into a business with a young person. So in some ways it is easier because you can do different things you couldn't do in the past. But I think in terms of starting a new business, it's a bit harder to start out now because money is not so easy to come by. It's kind of depending on where you live. Back in the day, there was other problems, but I don't think money was such a problem. You could live with people, and now most people I know at least, they're very they're always oh, I need money. So I guess that's these days there's a lot more money flowing around. In the old days, people kind of had enough for their sustenance, I feel.
Yeah, and I think just jumping off of what you had said there, I think it's important to recognize the social economic sort of realm of this, cultural. I lived in a fairly small college town before I moved to New York, and I could have worked at a restaurant or bar, I could have worked for the university, or I could have worked for a garage door company. Everything else was nothing. It's all service industry or big company, and there was no way. You spent all of your money downtown at a bar because this is the only I live in a bubble. And actively getting out of those sorts of things is incredibly difficult. You know, I had absolutely no way to save enough money to really move to New York. Like, had to sell the car, had to do this. But once I did the things that was necessary, I was able to escape the small town sort of life. But like, I could be the strongest entrepreneur in the world, but no one in that town had enough money to like finance a business of some sort. And if they did, there's no way they're spending it on some kid in Kansas. You know, like, I didn't have the training to like pitch or sell it to him, you know. So it also, if you have to have that drive to be able to visit other places or move or do anything, and you could have the drive that everyone in this room has and be in a town with 25 people and never use it. So that's the unfortunate side of things too.
Yeah. So you talk about the environment. So then how did you get out? What made you say, hey, I want to get into the technology side? Was it something? Well,
the job I was doing at the time was very easy for me, and so I used my free time to do like what Shaya said. I studied like audio engineering and like how to make podcasts or at least create audio to not sound incredibly terrible, because at the time mine was sounding really bad. And you know, at that point I landed a show to work on. My partner got a job in New York, and so I moved up to New York. And you know, but that's also a level of privilege. You know, like, would I have been able to move to New York, find an apartment and everything with the money from selling my car? Probably not. But because I had a partner who already moved up here and found it,
that was
you know,
a big help, yeah.
And so, like, it's also just about like recognizing the privileges as well.
But you know what? I've noticed that a lot of the people that have that entrepreneurial spirit, or if they're just independent, I would say, those are the ones that go outside their comfort zone and they move. You know,
and you did that.
You know, it's Rob. And then you hear about those actors, actresses, musicians. They all, you know, had to do what they had to do in order to pursue their dream. It's like they said, if you want something bad enough, you make it happen.
Sure.
And sometimes you have to sacrifice certain things in order to achieve what you want.
Right.
Well, not to mention, like, a lot of people have, like, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, but they have, like, big fish, small pond syndrome. You know, it's like, I live in this area, and I'm doing pretty well for where I'm at right now. I have big dreams and stuff, but if I move, then I'm not who I am now. I don't have a fan base, even if it might be a small talk show or something in Kansas. You know?
Right.
So getting out of there, it's like, oh, now I'm nobody. And so I think that is a real testament, too, to the people who do move, like you're saying. It's like, there's the people who are comfortable, want to stay, don't want to take risks. There's the people that really like the idea of it, but can't take that risk. And then there's the people who take the risk.
Listen, out of the 5 boroughs, Staten Island is like the forgotten borough.
Yeah,
it's
I talked about that one time. I call it the fifth borough.
Yeah, and everybody talks a lot of smack about it. But coming from Staten, because I was originally from Queens, so Queens is a little bit more fast paced and stuff. So when I moved to Staten Island, it was in 1987. I was about maybe 8 years old, and it was completely different because it was so diverse. Moving to Staten Island at that time, it was predominantly Italian, Irish, and Jewish. And then it just kind of started to become a melting pot where it became more diverse. And now we have people from like all over, from different cultures. Why? Because Brooklyn is right next door, and now we have more people coming in from Brooklyn, and they're settling there. And you know, and overall, you know, things are changing in the market, and because of the Ferris wheel and the tourists are starting to come in, but there's also people are going to start moving in because it's going to be a trending borough. But on the other side, when, you know, coming from Staten Island, it's a very small town feel, because I still have friends from when I first moved in. Mm-hmm. In fact, I have friends that they're connecting with me through Facebook that I haven't spoken to in years. Just previously, maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had my high school friend, Will Fonseca, on the show, and he's a producer, director, actor.
Right.
He's doing all this stuff, and he went out and he did the same thing. He had to travel. He went to California. He was studying to be oh my God, what is that? A particular engineer for like production and stuff like that. So he does that apart from the writing and everything else. So he had to go outside of that and and travel and find his way, and he did. And now he came back, and he's living in Brooklyn. Brooklyn has always been his home base. And I know of a few other friends of mine that went out. They had to travel or they had to do something because it's like we felt confined. And if you live in a small town area, you have jobs, and I'm not knocking anything because, like I said before, each person has their own path, their own way. And I totally have respect for anybody that want to pursue a more simpler life. But what is there to do in Staten Island is just, go become a police officer, become a fireman, a teacher, or this or that, settle and have a couple of kids.
Right.
So,
but that's why.
Thank you.
But that's why you have the 99%, as they say, that are working for someone that's the 1%, because that part of the 99% don't want to take that chance. And listen, I understand you got a 9 to 5, you got bills to pay, kids and everything. But then,
let's be fair. Those people don't have 9 to 5s. They probably have like 99s.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. And that's tough for them because, I mean, I know a couple of friends that just don't want to take that chance of being an entrepreneur.
Yep.
But it's like you do have the evenings, you do have the weekends. So it's like Michelle said, you got to have the drive. If you don't have it, then
Yeah, sure. And I think
the drive is the biggest thing. It's the, as they say, it's the why.
Well, and there's a way to usually make your 9 to 5 job better, but it takes a little bit of effort. And then it's like, do I put that effort into a job that I currently dislike? Do I put that effort into having fun on Friday and Saturday?
Right.
But like, I've definitely been in some places that if you really know how to like manage up, like, and make sure that the person treats you the way that you want, not easy, but if you can direct your energy that way, at least it like, I don't know, give you a better spending, maybe give you more energy to do something on the weekends.
Yeah, exactly.
So, guys, in regards to projects or anything on the creative realm, what are you guys doing? What are you guys up to?
I'm doing right now. I'm still learning like exactly how to use my program and everything because there's like 5,000 shortcuts. Some crazy number. It's like you have to do a lot of hand-eye coordination, so it's like been a bit tough. Right now, I'm designing a female warrior. She's got like a whole sword and everything. There's a lot of detail. That's like, hopefully I can get a picture included with the podcast, and then everyone listening can see what I'm doing. It's quite cool. It's taking a lot of time right now, but yeah, I'm way on my way to become a professional like 3D CG artist. So it's very good.
Yeah, very cool.
So like one character, how long what's the duration for just creating one character?
Do you mean like what's the process? Or...
Yeah, like the overall process from the beginning to completion, and then just kind of like presenting it.
Okay, I don't want to like bore anyone listening because it's like a long process, but it's like I'm saying I'll try to like break it down in like short. So there's first you have to like sketch whatever it is on paper, like the front, back, and the side, and then you have to like make just make like a model out of like squares. You take a cube and you can like kind of extrude the corners or the edges or the faces and cut it up and like pull from different edges. And like then you kind of make like a square model, then you make it circular, and then you kind of sculpt it almost like you're doing clay but on the computer. And then you finally use like something called polygons, which is like squares. It could be any shape, but specifically squares. It's like 2D, and you trace over everything you've been doing. Try to get like the muscles if you're doing a face or something, or like a neck. Try to get like the bones and everything. And then you like finish up the detail, like the colors and everything, because you can save the detail through doing this like final squares over, which is called retopology. Because making the first character is called topology, and then you like retopologize it. And then you have a character, which is like something that originally would have been 1 megabyte or 1 gigabyte is now maybe 10 megabytes. Because you can't have a movie which is 1 gigabyte and have one character be 200 megabytes. Because then you don't have a movie, you have 5 characters and nothing. So,
Right.
like that's kind of the work.
Stuff.
It's quite intense working at it, but coming from an outsider view, it's probably like, wow, why does he do that? But if you like it, if you have like all these skills, because it is a niche area. But I think any business is really niche business because like we might know like in the city there's a lot of lawyers, but in the countryside there's no lawyers, so it's kind of like a niche profession. But they all go to one area. So my thing is it's definitely a niche profession. It's not so simple because there's a lot of different skills, but if you have the skills, go for it.
No, but you know what? It's fascinating. I did see a little bit of a documentary. Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But when you're doing like a 3D and you're taking a particular model, do they sometimes also get a live model to kind of implement like the expressions, the movement as well? Do they also have that incorporated, or is that like something separate?
So there's like animation that's like a different thing to like move the character, but like I'm more like going for photorealism. Like this is just the beginning of like me getting started. I'm trying to like what I'm going for is to eventually like make 3D models that look real.
Okay.
Like you'll see something and it'll be like you'll come onto my website and it'll be like, hi, I'm Shaya Dank, I'm from Sydney, Australia. Like, and then later on later on in the video, I'll show like this is all made up of squares, made out of like it's all modeling, just to show people like who I am. But I'm going for photorealism.
You showed me. I know that you shared a clip with me through Facebook of something that you were doing, and I was just like watching it, and I was like, oh my god, that's like amazing. And you know, and I do apologize because for me, you know, like I have difficulty sometimes differentiating certain aspects of different aspects of this, because I know that there's subdivisions of in regards to like 3D and things like that. So sometimes I get confused with the animation, which you're right. And but you know, overall, that's just like a fascinating thing to see, because it's like you're basically creating something from nothing. Yes. You know,
that is amazing. That is amazing.
It is.
Yeah,
it's like the ultimate art.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, that's it. And you know, one of the other things that I noticed that they've been using a lot now, especially like musicians when they're doing concerts, holograms. Someone passes away, like Michael Jackson, Prince, whatever. They have holograms of them. So now they do these duets with these artists, and even though they passed on, they still perform and everything as if they were there.
I mean, look at it. Toy Story, when that came out. I mean, my God, I was amazed when that came out. I just saw
E.T. before this. It was doing a special screening. Yeah. And it was just really funny to be like, oh man, I remember seeing them ride their bicycles and saying, that looks real, like across the moon, and seeing it this time and being like, wow, I was a child.
No, it's just, I mean, like I said, you look at Toy Story and then you look at all these animations like on the football games. I mean,
or even just Avatar, like Shaya said.
I know,
you know?
Exactly. I'm like, I remember the first time I saw it, I didn't see it in the movie there. I saw it at home, and I'm like, Jesus.
And you like 3D movies. You might be the only person I know who likes it, but that's the one to watch in 3D.
Exactly. Yeah. I was amazed when I saw that. I was like, Jesus, this looks, I mean, it was amazing.
Where do you leave the Star Trek, when Star Trek had like those specials?
I wasn't a Star Trek fan, but...
Well, I'm
oh, no. I remember in the 90s, like even Home Improvement would do that stuff.
Yeah, I'm nerdy in that sense that I am into Star Wars and Star Trek, comic books and all that.
Hey, same here, Michelle.
So,
you don't got it. I'm sure you got a little bit of it too.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I have to confess that, but when Star Trek, I think this was like in the late 90s, early 2000s or something, when they had the movies out. I think it was the one that when William Shatner was Captain Kirk, and they had like the movies, not the series, but they had the movies. They had the 3D, and I remember that I was right here in the city, and they had the the glasses and was it the no, it wasn't the glasses. Just to show you how old I am. It wasn't the glasses.
Was it the blue and red?
No. It was the actual screen that they had. It wasn't that you had to wear the glasses. It was the actual presentation of the movie. And when you watch, or is it that I'm confusing?
I don't know if anything's actually going to reach out.
No, I'm sorry.
Like, do it's not that extreme.
You know what? I'm having one of those old people moments.
Oh yeah.
No,
I know, right at 38. Yeah, okay. You're not even at that age.
Excuse me. I apologize. This was when I was in Orlando. They had this thing with Predator. That's what.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's now the Stitch ride. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And you had to sit there, and it was in the dark, and then they showed glimpses of the Predator.
Right.
And then you felt the.
They had air in like seats and stuff,
like,
so like it would like shoot in gusts, so it would feel like something's going across your neck.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay.
And then to scare the crap out of you, it was dark, and then all of a sudden you see like in the screen it like pops out, and you see the thing, and you just scream.
You didn't realize like how close it was because it's so dark and foggy and things.
Yeah. And they had that, and the thing was that Disney was is very big with the whole animation and 3D and all of that. So they were always like putting those things out there. They had like these attractions for like not young kids, but like maybe like kids that were like 10 or 11 years old and then older. Okay. And I remember a few times that I was there that they had that, and I was just kind of like blown away and then they had the studio where they show how they did the cartoons and how they how they did this other stuff and now how he evolved, and then now you have Shaya that is like taking this and now
we'll find out
the new generation.
Shia will be working with Steven Spielberg one day.
Listen.
I'll have my own studio.
It'll be.
I know, right?
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
What's his name? Walt Disney started from a garage somewhere. These other like well-known entrepreneurs.
They gotta start somewhere. Yeah.
In the garage, they started somewhere. They started something so simple, and they evolved it into something so big, and now everybody knows who they are. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing saying that you cannot do something. And some people think that you might be nuts for doing it, but you know what? That's on them.
That's on them. Exactly.
You're not them. They're not you. Just follow whatever it is that you love to do, and then just go with it. And that's the sum up of being an entrepreneur. It's just going and doing something that you enjoy.
So, Rob, what we have on the podcast side, anything new that's coming out to help podcasters get better?
The thing I really like right now is I'm working on an oral history project, but I can't really like say what it's about yet.
Sure.
But the thing that's really helped me is that there's some fairly big names that aren't going to take the time to sit down on a Google Hangout or a Skype, or I'm not going to pay someone to go to their office in Los Angeles and sit down with a microphone while I talk to them. That's called a tape sync. So I need to find a way that works within my budget as a sole producer to get interviews with people that don't have a lot of time. So what is that? A phone call. People can walk with their phone. So I've been using this app called Sparemin, Sparemin. It's really good. Not all the kinks are out of it yet, but it's a startup based here in New York. I can call someone from the app. When they answer the phone, it says, "This phone call is currently being recorded. Wait for the beep. You'll meet your guest," whatever. So they know immediately when they pick it up, it's already being recorded. So there's no possibility of shady business or anything like that. And then afterwards, they email you a transcription of the conversation. It's not the best thing in the world. You're still going to need to go over it and fix any spelling errors and stuff. Someone said Sydney and it said Cindy, like a woman's name. And so but that works really well because, mine's an oral history. I have to go through and figure out what things to keep. It's not a straight talk show like this. So that app's really been helping me out there.
Okay.
Yeah, but other than that, I think that app paired with a Zoom recorder, you can start creating a podcast.
Yeah, it seems like I was watching my favorite channel, YouTube, a couple of months ago, and there's like an app called Auphonic, AUPHONIC, and you can record. Now, I'm not sure if I can record a conversation, but let's say if I want to do a solo show, you can upload it from Auphonic straight through Libsyn. Libsyn goes to iTunes, and that's a pretty good app. I'd
say that's really good for definitely one person. I need to get my ideas out there.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't know if you could record a conversation. As far as I know,
and I would say on the other side of it, the StoryCorps app or StoryCorps apps. They're really good because it lets you load questions in the app and then uses the phone's recording if you want to record people. But if not, it gives you a time frame, it tells you how long you're going, and after you touch the question on it, it'll make it go away, and so your list is there. So that's just an awesome app, StoryCorps.
Wait a minute, I wanted to get that. Huh? You went too far.
Well, listen to the podcast and you'll get it.
I'm going to have to listen to this podcast again. So that's good. So we got some new technology coming out. And Zoom, I definitely want to look into that.
That's just, you can go from $80 to $300, but anything with Zoom name is a really good portable recorder.
Okay, so Rob, I have a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put you
13 seconds.
I'm going to put you on the spot. I was just my whatchamacallit, my little bell went off on my head, and I was just thinking that maybe we can do a little segment with you here on the podcast in regards to, any ideas in regards to podcast stuff.
Well, I'll send you a bill. I get a consultation fee for my stuff from people, but I don't know. What do you need to know? I mean, do we have time?
No, not just...
oh, you mean on the regular?
On the regular, I know that you're a very busy man. You have quite a few things going on. But, every once in a while...
I'm happy to help where I can.
Rob always has these great ideas, and he's always giving his own advice in regards to making our show better. And since we started about a year ago in Willie's place, in front of the computer, trying to figure things out, it evolved. It really has evolved.
If you go back to your first episode and then listen to this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It made a complete difference. It has gone for the better. And we also implemented a few other things along the way. Now I have a photographer, I have a videographer to also incorporate it. And because of the schedule for this episode, my videographer wasn't able to come in to videotape. It has evolved, and it's going to keep getting better. And we're doing events as well. So we've kind of grown in the past year, and I'm very proud of that. So guys, Rob, where can people find you, and Shaya, where they can find you?
You can either go to doingitwithmikesacks.com. That's probably one of my biggest shows. That's DOIN, no G. Or you can go to my website, Rob K. Schulte, ROB, the letter K, SCHULTE.com.
And Shaya, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or Google+. I haven't put up so much recent stuff because, as I said earlier, I'm just trying to really get my learning done. But in a few days, soon I'll start putting up stuff on Instagram and on Facebook. You can find my links. We'll put them below.
Okay. So, guys, you can find us on iTunes, Stitchers, YouTube, Work Your Money Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram as well, Work Your Money Podcast. Until the next time, everyone have a great Memorial weekend. And until the next time, good night.